At Mr. Han's Karate Academy, Dr. Fong walks in. She meets with Han and talks about taking her son out of the academy because her elder son had died a few months back. Han is not very happy about it since he knows her son is very fond of karate. However, she soon meets with her son Lee and tells her that they have to leave because she has a job in a hospital in New York. Having no other way, he leaves for New York with his mother. On the first night, Lee gets out of the apartment to get some food. Right beneath their building, he finds a pizza shop where he looks for stuffed crust, something that is never familiar to the people in New York. So the two men there make fun of him. A young girl named Mia comes in and apologizes on their behalf and has him buy something else. She also introduces one of those men as her father, named Victor. Knowing that Lee has recently moved to New York from Beijing, she welcomes her. The next day, while returning from school, Lee once again bumps into Mia. They chat a little bit. She asks him about his first day in school, and she decides to walk home with him. On the road, Lee stops near a karate training center, but Mia wants him to move from there quickly. As they are about to leave, a few men come to her asking about her dad. She ignores them and starts walking, revealing to Lee that those men owe some money to her father, and the training academy is theirs. Inside, Connor is training hard, who happens to be Mia's ex-boyfriend. As he hears that Mia is hanging around with some other guy, he is pissed off. Mia and Lee spend some more time together. They get rather fond of each other, and as his mother gets to know that he has made a female friend, she is amused as well. The next day, Lee goes out with Mia on her scooter, but the scooter's engine is broken in the middle of the road. She tells him that it has been a long time since she has used it. They take it on the train and embark on their way home. On the train, they bump into Connor. Mia tries to avoid him, but he tries to antagonize her. She asks him to leave, and he constantly rejects her demands. Lee speaks in, which creates a tense situation between them. However, Connor makes him way, but as Lee is about to pass him, he punches him in the face and leaves. Mia apologizes to him about it and takes him to his father, who is very good at doing makeups, and he takes care of his eyes. There, Lee gets to know that Victor used to be a boxer, and he had gotten many black eyes before. He offers him a tea bag to keep on his eye while sleeping. His mother finds him in the morning, and she is very upset that he is getting into fights, especially remembering what happened to his elder brother. She condemns him for getting into any more fights. At school, Lee makes a new friend named Alan. He chats with him a bit at the library, who seems very friendly. As he returns home, he stumbles upon some of his pictures with his brother and remembers the lessons his brother had taught him, who was always better at karate than him. The next day at school, he is once again met with Connor, who tries to provoke him into a fight, and Lee pushes him away. Soon, a fight breaks between them, and Connor has the upper hand. It goes on until the school officials stop it. At night, while Lee is working on the scooter, some men walk in with baseball bats. In the meantime, Victor gets out as well. Apparently, the men are there to beat him. Before he can begin a fight, a guy from behind knocks him out. Lee rushes to check on him, but is stopped by the men and a fight starts. This time, Lee has the upper hand with them. They try to keep on fighting as much as they can, but Lee beats them all enough, forcing them to run away. Victor gets back to consciousness and is very amused seeing his skills. He takes him inside and shows him his old pictures from when he used to be a great boxer. He tells him that after his daughter was born, he had to leave all that, and he has no regret for that. However, he wants to fight again because there is a competition happening in the town, and the prize money is good with which he can pay off his debts. And to return to boxing, he desires to be taught by Lee. Lee talks to Han, asking for his advice on whether he should teach Victor or not, and he gives a positive reply. The next day, he goes to him and they start their lesson. However, in between the training, Mia walks in and she is very disappointed. She tries to talk her dad out of the idea of fighting again, but Victor says that she has nothing to worry about it, and he is sure of it. The training goes on, and Lee involves all the everyday objects to train him. After days of training, Victor gets very good at his skills. One night, Lee is alone punching a bag. Victor asks him what he is so upset about. He tells him about his brother's passing. There were some burglars who tried to rob him in the street, and he was stabbed. His brother asked for his help, but he was frozen. Han was present there as well. Lee, Mia, and Alan all become good friends, and one night they decide to go to a fair. Alan wants Lee to make his first move on Mia, but he is not very interested in that. However, Lee is disappointed to see Mia fall with Connor, who keeps flirting with her. The day of the fight arrives, and Mia tries to make conversation with Lee, but fails. Lee avoids her constantly. As she pushes him to the edge, he reveals what he is upset about. Mia realizes and apologizes to him, and she tells him that she ended things with him that night, saying she has someone new in her life. It eases out Lee, and they go to kiss while their father barges in and is very disappointed. He embarks on the ring, and the fight begins. Victor gives a first punch, but gets back many in return. However, he soon recovers and returns many other punches. With constant instructions from Lee, he soon has the upper hand and beats his opponent thoroughly. However, when he almost wins, the opponent does an illegal move, pushes the referee away, and knocks Victor unconscious. Mia, completely devastated, enters the ring and calls for Lee, but due to his trauma, Lee gets frozen once again. He is taken to the hospital, and Lee is once again frozen there as Mia asks him to come in. It's the same hospital where his mother works, and after realizing what her son is up to, she is very upset and leaves. Days pass by, and Victor slowly recovers. One night, as Lee gets home, he can't find his mother anywhere. Out of nowhere, someone attacks him, and he keeps fighting and resisting his blows. In between, when the light is turned on, he sees it is none other than Han. He gets a normal demeanor as soon as his mother comes in. She is very dissatisfied seeing that he has come here. Han is aware of the hard time that Lee is going through, and that's why he is here. He asks him to go visit Victor together, whom he is afraid to meet for a long time. They visit the hospital the next day, and seeing Mia leaves, Lee introduces Han to Victor and apologizes to him. Victor consoles him, saying it's nothing to worry about. He also expresses that they are thinking about leaving the city. It deeply upsets Lee, but soon Han barges in and says that for the Chinese people, a friend's problem is one's own problem, and therefore he will help them. Han gets out, and Lee wonders how he is planning to help. Han tells him that he will fight, and in 2 days his training will start, but he will fetch a friend in the meantime. He goes to his old master, Mr. Miyagi's house. There is nobody at the home but his student Daniel, who is the one Han is looking for. He asks for his help to train Lee, but Daniel outright denies it, saying he is not into it anymore. However, Han doesn't listen and leaves, being very convinced that he will come and train him. The training session begins for Lee, and it's all about the everyday thing. He is even forbidden from eating fast food. Connor is also training hard at the academy. After a few days of training, as supposed by Han, Daniel comes there. Although they both have different styles, they try to collaboratively train Lee, of which he becomes a victim. In the meantime, Lee keeps trying to make contact with Mia, but she is avoiding him all the still. To make them talk again, Alan orders a pizza from her shop and has them meet in a good setting. He requests she amend things, and they start talking again. She tells him that he doesn't have to fight for her or her dad, but Lee tells her that he is doing for himself, and he is sure about it. The competition takes place, and Lee gets past the first round very easily. He continues training, as on the other hand, Connor does well too. The competition goes on, and Lee moves on to the final. In the spot of the semifinal, some goon attacks them, but Han and Daniel beat them easily. The final match is going to be between Lee and Connor. Lee's mother is not very happy about him still fighting. Both Han and Daniel prepare him for the last battle. As Daniel finds him training alone for a high kick, he inquires about it. Lee says that he is preparing for that because he bit him earlier with that move. Daniel says that this is how he can provoke him, use his aggression against him. He takes him to the subway gate, and he prepares for a low kick. After a lot of tries, he manages to make it. The day of the final arrives. Lee's mother comes to meet him. This time, she is not upset, but rather is there to show her support for him. Lee and Connor both get into the ring. As the fight begins, Connor has the first kick on Lee. He gets the second kick as well, as Han and Daniel watch in shock. His family and friends are there as well, in terror as he constantly gets hit. After 4 massive hits, Lee gets up again and fights. This time, he defends very well and finally manages to strike a blow as well. Connor gets up more aggressively, and an intense fight begins. Lee strikes him once again, and soon the scores are tied. The lead keeps going back and forth as the battle goes on. However, Connor manages to strike a hard kick on the back of his head, and he falls to the ground. The counting begins, and Lee remembers the time Victor was beaten and his brother was killed. He collects all his strength and gets up at the last moment. The point is tied at 7, and whoever makes the next point will win. He does what the training was for, and lunges at him as Connor attempts to make the high kick. Lee, being prepared, ducks and knocks him on the leg, making him lose balance. And eventually, he blows the final kick on his chest, making him fly away far. Everyone celebrates his win, but Connor gets up and tries to attack him from behind. However, Lee is aware and takes him up. He completely overpowers him and prepares to punch him. Everyone is anticipating, but he punches beside him. He takes him up, and they bow to one another as he is soon introduced as the winner. His mother, Mia, Victor, and all come and embrace him. So, that was the recap for the 2025 movie Karate Kids Legends. For more recaps like this, stay subscribed to the channel. And if you have enjoyed this video, you may also like this.